The settings are similar as they are both in old houses, which is where a lot of horror films are set. Off-screen space was used more in older horror films, such as American Werewolf in London, than in newer horror films, such as Insidious, as in my second clip, off-screen space wasn't used that much, if not at all. The victims in both of the horror films are dressed very similar, with normal unoriginal clothes, whereas the dead people in both films were very different. Jack looked very gory in American Werewolf in London, whereas Elise just had her eyes open and was very white. Also, the werewolf in American Werewolf in London didn't look that real, whereas the ghost in Insidious 2 looked very realistic. The facial expressions and body language was very similar in both films, in that the victims looked and acted very anxious and scared, whereas the villains looked very evil and frightening. This is what most horrors used in films, and this is called binary opposites. The sounds used in horror are usually diegetic, and both horror films use this with lots of ambient sounds and lots of dialogue. Both films use silence and then sudden loud eerie sounds to make audiences jump, which horror films use a lot. Both horror films use low-key lighting to portray the villains and scenery, and high-key lighting to portray the victims. Both films have low-angle shots to portray the villains and high-angle shots to portray the victims. Also, they have their own shot types to portray their individual films. Both films have scenes set in a house. This is because it adds mystery and tension. This hasn't changed over time because it still makes viewers anxious. Both films used facial expressions on characters to show fear. This shows how scared they were, as they couldn't even talk. All their emotion was showing through their faces. Both films use silence to build up tension in the audience. This is used in almost all horror films, so it is a generic convention.